Hear ye, hear ye. This is your conscience speaking. Welcome back to your favorite channel, Conscious Conscience TV. Greetings, Hotep, Shalom, and double salute family. I would like to pose a question. To be absent-minded, does that mean you misplaced parts of your mind, or you've lost parts of your mind, or you've lost your whole mind, or you've lost pieces of your mind? If you lose your mind, does that mean you have lost yourself, parts of yourself, or pieces of yourself? If you lose yourself, who are you then? What are you then? And how do you find yourself? Where do you find yourself? The mind is a terrible thing to waste.
He's preaching now, already.
I would like to talk to you about what it is and what does it mean to have something to guide you in life, that which is between right and wrong. As the channel name is Conscious and Conscience. Conscience is what I want to speak about, really. Conscience. This word with the science in it. This is the word I want to magnify and highlight. Conscience. First of all, most people look for some type of guidance. Not everyone. Some people want to do the right thing. Some people want to know what the right thing is. How do we know what the right thing is? Some say we have the good book. You have many good books. Making many books, there is no end. So, how do we know which one is the right book? And if these books are saying something to give us true guidance, what book is it that is the magical book that has the proper words that will guide us? We say that these books are the Word of God. If it's the Word of God, the Bible is the Word of God, or the Quran, or whatever book you choose is the Word of God. What was God saying before these books were published? How was God saying? How was God speaking before the books were published? Because these books have publishing dates. And if God always had a voice, as we say and as we know, how would God speak to us? Before the book, prior to the book, before the book, how would we know what is right and what is wrong? I would like to pose to you that there is something deep inside of everyone that they're born with. Some like to call it spirituality. Some like to call it a conscience. Some like to call it a voice. Some like to call it a gut feeling. But what is it really? How do we define that? What does that do? How does that work? To have a mind that operates. There's a such thing as a guilty conscience, which meaning your mind is always telling you that, making you feel bad about everything that you're doing. That means your conscience is working overtime. How does one live with a conscience? What does it look like? How does one live without a conscience? And what does that look like? How do we prepare for life? And how do we teach our youngsters to live life, to prepare for life? How do we spark their conscience? How do we spark it without causing their conscience to work overtime to cause them to be overly guilty about things, to have a conscious mind? Well, I would like to say that your mind is bigger than you think it is. Your mind is bigger than you think it is. Your mind is very, very unique. The mind. M-I-N-D. The mind. So if God didn't have a book to tell us what to do, well, how would God say? What would God say? When would God say? The book is considered to be the Logos. The Logos is the written word of what we say the Word of God is. But it was not always a written word. And it was not always written with natural or physical ink. There's a such thing as a metaphoric ink. And there's a such thing as a table or a tablet of your heart. I think it's written in your DNA before you even come into the world. Something deep down inside of you. A moral compass, if you will. A still small voice, because we look for God's voice to be thunderous.
Oh yes, he's preaching now.
We look for God's voice to be thunderous and loud and boisterous. But the voice of God is what we call God. It's a still small voice. It's an inner voice. It's a deep knowing. It is an unction from the Holy One. It is an unction from the Holy One. An unction is like a special supernatural ability, divine influence in your life. If there was never a book,
This would be the voice of God.
this would be the guidance.